Is my voice clear?
Yes, yes, your voice is clear. You can start. Live streaming started.
Assalamu alaikum. We are going to start our review the editors program. Inshallah, we are going to start in a minute. Just some 2-3 guests are they have called up. They said they'll join in a minute. Assalamu alaikum. Nahmadu nusalli ala rasulil karim. Amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Inshallah, we are going to start a review program now, or a e-magazine, women's e-magazine. So inshallah, where we have our guests who have joined in with us today, and we are going to start this program with Tilawat al-Quran. And Tilawat al-Quran, we are going. I would welcome Ms. Kulsum Abu Bakr to do Tilawat al-Quran. She's a master's in psychology and also a master's in journalism. She's a LLB practitioner also. Request Kulsum Abu Bakr to start the program with the Tilawat. Also, we have to unmute.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداء إذا دعاني فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون. صدق الله العظيم. O you who have believed, decreed upon you is fasting, as it was decreed upon those before you, that you may be righteous. Fasting is for a limited number of days. So whoever among you is ill or on a journey during them, then an equal number of days are to be made up. And upon those who are able to fast but with hardship, a ransom as substitute of feeding a person eating. And whoever volunteers access it for him. But to fast is best for you if you only knew. The month of Ramadan is that in which the Quran was revealed, a guidance for the people and clear proofs of guidance and criterion. So whoever sights the new moon of the month, let him fast in it. And whoever is ill or on a journey, then an equal number of other days. Allah intends for you is and does not intend for you hardship and wants for you to complete the period and to glorify Allah for that to which we have guided you. And perhaps you will be grateful. And when my servants ask you, O Muhammad, concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the invocation of the supplicant when he calls upon me. So let them respond to me by obedience and believe in me that they may be rightly guided.
Thank you, Sister Kulsen, for that wonderful recitation. I would like to welcome Ms. Amatur Raza Abba for her welcome speech. Amatur Raza, Sister Amatur Raza is State Secretary of Jamaat Islami Hind Women's Wing, and she is also the member advisory committee of the Women's Wing Markaz. She is also the council of she's a member of the Council of Representatives. I would request Ms. Amatur Raza to for her welcome speech now. आप admit कर सकते हैं आप राजा पापा राजा पापा can you please unmute for the welcome speech. Uh, I think there are some technical issues with Razikappa and she is not thing. Can I request Miss Aisha, Sister Aisha, to do the welcome speech? Ratni Sabaji?
Yes, yes, Sister Aisha Sultana, the editor of Aura magazine.
Yes, Sister Aisha.
Aisha Saiba.
She's also done her diploma in journalism also, and she's the sub-editor of Aura e-magazine. Aisha, can you please, I welcome you to do the welcome speech. I, Aisha, can you hear me?
I think she should be made the co-host. Aisha, yeah, she is the co-host now.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, actually the host was not allowing to unmute.
Okay,
Can you hear
sorry.
me now?
Yes, yes, yes. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon to all of you. Here, as you all know, that Aura has completed its 1 year and Alhamdulillah, we have published our 14th issue. And this magazine, our Aura, this attempts to engage with women's voices and it debates while centering social, political, economic, and also personal experiences of women from different communities, drawing upon an Islamic framework of gender justice and social justice. This is also an attempt to challenge the popular stereotypes which are being represented today, and also the media representations about the lives and dreams of and also the hopes of all people from marginalized communities in India as well as beyond. And this magazine, this was launched in a testing time where multiple contexts of political repression, the pandemic, and the continuous forms of social injustice prevail. So right from our first issue, that was leadership and success, that is what is meant to, what it means to women across the country. Leadership and success that has been painted with a very superficial and individualistic brush by media. Instead, we thought of turning the question on its head and asked what it means to lead, to challenge oneself and to succeed. And from our journey, starting from March 2021, our first issue, which was published in March 2021. Later, we have taken up different kinds of themes every month, that is environment, motherhood, and also teaching, education, and various other discrete and diverse topics on which we have represented women and their roles today. So even our latest issue, that is which we have published in April, here the cover story of April, as you all know, is because of the holy month of Ramadan has approached, and today we are in the journey of Ramzan itself. So our first cover story of April is the tips for spirituality and emotionally productive Ramzan, as well as our regular columns like book review, health, and also education, enlightenment by the Quran, and face-to-face interviews of successful people whose hidden talents have not been published elsewhere. We try to publish their success stories and also inspiring personalities stories in our magazine. And also we have regular columns in our magazine, that is the world of politics, poetry, children's corner, life lessons, and many other aspects which are related to women. However, after our first anniversary, that is we are really very pleased, and we are feeling it as a privilege today to conduct this readers club meeting with the state Karnataka. Actually, Aura is very much pleased to present our 14th issue in front of you, that is our readers, particularly after the successful anniversary celebrations that is spanning from the month of February. We have started in the mid of February, and concluding program was on March 2nd. So the programs were very well received, and the support that was showered on Aura by our dedicated readers, contributors, and well-wishers has given us much more energy for the journey ahead. And also, after our first anniversary celebrations, we have decided to conduct Readers Club meetings monthly. Also, we have conducted nearly 14 Twitter spaces on diverse issues and topics. And after the Twitter space programs, after receiving huge appreciation from our readers and contributors, we planned for conducting a monthly Readers Club meeting on behalf of Aura. So we have conducted a Readers Club meet with our state Kerala, and today here we are very glad that many a lineup of very good speakers and our contributors, all dignitaries who have lined up here to speak today. I welcome all of you on behalf of Team Aura. So in our April issue, we have actually focused on multiple topics like health, including mental health, children's health, and also religious perspectives on health and well-being, Ramadan, including some practical tips for all of us, and experiences of fasting from a few women. And also, as April has a World Book Day, which includes book reviews from our young readers. And also, as April marks Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's birthday on April 14th, we also have a feature issue on this topic, apart from the tips on how to invest wisely. Alhamdulillah, today in our program, in our Readers Club meet, I hope that our dignitaries, our guests will review on our magazine, and they will give us suggestions and also their feedback, so that we can gain much more energy in the journey ahead. I thank you all for participating and being a part of us today in this program. Jazakallahu khairan kaseera. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sister Aisha. That was a good welcome and a good introduction to Aura, and I think most of them would have read Aura and understood whatever you're trying to say. And now I would like to, since we have some 10 to 11 speakers, I would request everybody to give their review for for 8 to 10 minutes. Others I have to interrupt in between. I apologize for that, because there is a little bit of time thing. So I request each speaker to not to take more than 8 to 10 minutes. Okay, I invite my first speaker, Ms. Sudha. Ms. Sudha Srinivasan. She has more than 25 years of experience in social action and development sector in India, which includes mobilization. She is a social activist, researcher, trainer, and organizer. Sudha is passionately involved with the holistic empowerment of the marginalized rural and urban communities with the focus on women. She holds a master's in sociology. She's working as a coordinator for outreach programs. She has done a lot of work, so I don't know which one to say and which one to miss for her. And she has done an action research on uniting in responsibilities in a culture of rights locating possibilities. She has initiated and coordinated with EFSA team. And she has also contributed, which is specific to this, to many articles like value-based education in culture and curriculum and global citizenship. I invite Ms. Sudha for your review on the Aura e-magazine article, ma'am.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this. Let me good afternoon and wish you all Ramzan Mubarak. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, Sudha. Clear.
Let me begin by congratulating and thanking the Aura e-magazine for this opportunity to review COVID-19 and children, the aftermath, intensely articulated by Jolly Khan. She has focused in particular on the adverse impact of the online school model on the holistic development of children. Of course, there have been several discussions about the impact of the closure of schools on the children due to COVID-19 lockdown in the recent past. As COVID cases continue to reduce, schools across India have reopened. Over the past 2 years, schools had to close and reopen several times due to repeated waves of the pandemic, causing major disruption in the education of millions of children. A new model of customized online education, replacing the classroom environment was introduced as an ultimate solution to continue the teaching process, which knowingly or unknowingly created a digital divide and a desperate situation for a vulnerable children. Several studies revealed that pandemic disruptions to education have disproportionately affected children. I don't want to go, don't take much time to reveal the numbers and all that, but anyway, I'll go ahead with the article. The article COVID-19 and Children, the Aftermath by Jolly Khan opens up an in-depth understanding of the gravity of short and long-term repercussions on the overall development of children posed by the COVID pandemic. While the educational enterprises, I call enterprises, praise the online mode of teaching and learning for an uninterrupted education, the author throws light on the variance in the levels of perceptive capacity of the children in the same classroom. It is proven that the disparities in the socio-economic background of the child and of families, such as accessibility and affordability of the digital technologies and lack of enabling environment, have negatively negative implications on the child's self-esteem. The switch from conventional learning to online learning caused by this COVID affected especially the marginalized children who have greater difficulties in adapting to the new learning environment. The author highlights the concern for lifelong backlash on the cognitive abilities of children owing to long-term closure and uncertainty of reopening schools as well. As a consequence of remote learning, the instinct for imagination, creative exploration, physical and intellectual stimulation, and social adaptation, which is normally facilitated by peer groups and physical school space, may affect the academic growth of the children. In other words, risking a lost generation of children. Jolly Khan especially underlines the impact of virtual learning on the emotional well-being of the child. The ramifications of COVID pandemic on the mental health, innate ability for empathy, compassion, caring, and sharing, that spring from interpersonal relationships in early childhood are visible in many children already. In addition to the challenges for the child's future caused by the pandemic, Jolly Khan draws up attention to the diagnostic identification of mild and severe symptomatic changes in the behavior of children that need careful and empathetic observation by the family and caretakers. All in all, the author elaborates on children's multiple and complex physical, cognitive, socio-emotional issues resulting from the pandemic induced digital education, and hence with the critical identification of symptoms in a child's behavioral change. Nevertheless, let me point out here, the article requires a conclusion with the probable suggestions or solutions to address these symptoms. Perhaps the paragraph I quote from the article, which she has already written there, let me quote that. These difficulties do not have a straightforward answer. To begin, this will require acknowledging and accepting the magnitude of the task. Each child needs individual attention. The assessment of each child should be made to determine the extent of his or her development, and accordingly a strategy can be developed. This can only be achieved by organizing parents, teachers, mental health professionals, and governing bodies together. Perhaps this could be considered as considered conclusive. So thank you so much again, our e-magazine organizers, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Sudha. That was quite a deep review. It was a good one. Yeah, we'll invite our next speaker, Dr. Sylvia Karpagam. Dr. Sylvia Karpagam, she is a public health doctor with around 18 years of experience. She has worked on health and social determinants. She has worked on a lot of community networks. She is associated with a lot of community networks such as PUCL and PHM, People's Health Movement, World Health Organization. She has been involved in the COVID-19 related public health work. As part of the Right to Health campaigns at the state and national level, she has conducted trainings, research, and published articles. As part of a larger campaign on the right to food, she has participated in fact finding visits, trainings, advocacy, challenging a centralized corporate driven school lunch scheme, denial of X, and ideological impositions through government food schemes. I welcome Dr. Sylvia for a review on Aura magazine article.
Firdaus, can I speak in 10 minutes, please? Sorry. You don't have to introduce me again.
Okay, fine, Sylvia, no problem. I would like to invite our next host, Rohin. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Rohit, are you ready?
Yeah, sure. Assalamu alaikum.
One second, I'll just give you an
Okay.
introduction. Rohin, she is an independent and self-motivated candidate with positive attitude and strong workforce and willing to be a part of STMR. And she has a very good knowledge in the environment she works in. And she has worked in a lot of organizations like Flipkart and Belagavi Milk Union Limited, Sanofi India Limited, and Geo Reliance. And she has a leadership and emotional. She has done a lot of COVID pandemic courses and Coursera, LinkedIn, TCS, and attended webinars also. Her interests are in seeking professional business knowledge and exploring and learning new skills and business aspects. I met Sister Rohin Nadaf for a review on the Aura article. Yeah, Rohit, you can go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for giving such a great opportunity. It's my pleasure to be here. So here today's my topic is respect, forgive, and be a team. Its category belongs to a family. So your basic thing is that a spouse, whether a husband or a wife, is a source of strength and empathy, wisdom and advice, smiles and laughter, opinions and well-intentioned admonishments, and an unflinching shoulder to lean on. Why does one get married? There could be a myriad of reasons why one should marry, but all of the reasons that one could come up with, the most natural and the most honest reason would be the need of companionship. Human beings need a constant element of support and friendship, and that is the primary role of a spouse must fulfill. A spouse, whether a husband or a wife, a source of strength and empathy, wisdom and advice, smiles and laughter, opinions and well intention. Opinion and well-intention, a spouse to be a friendship, a togetherness. A perfect and ideal marriage will have all these elements and more. But a perfect marriage is just that, perfect and hence unreal and largely impractical. Frequent fights, unending arguments, old wars, and cold shoulders, followed by cajoling, sweet talk to bring the other person around, are quite a common occurrence in most marriages. The first few days or months of a marriage are joyful and exciting and just as solemn, sore, mundane, and even bitter for some as the marriage goes on. Then does this mean there is no real way to remain happy in one's marriage and maintain the happiness overall whole life? Is this what all marriages come to in the end? Question mark. There are a few important aspects in a marriage that one must remember to ensure that marriages don't turn sour and the couple stays happily married in reality, even in dunya and akhirah. The most important aspect in a marriage is respect. Love without respect for one's spouse is not long lasting. There will be times in a marriage when love can become a matter of question. That is when respect for one's spouse comes to the rescue. It is one of the most undervalued and ignored aspects in the marriages. While mutual respect alone isn't sufficient for a successful marriage, it is just as important to ensure one wouldn't do anything that might hurt the other. Respect is also the first step to establishing trust in a marriage. The second most important aspect is forgiveness. There are bound to be countless scenarios in a marriage when one can get upset and angry with one's spouse, but being able to forgive your better half and move on is a crucial element in maintaining happiness. Little tiny adjustments must all be forgiven and taken in stride. After all, one must realize that each person is different and each person personalities are bound to clash. The more accommodating and forgiving we are, the more chances we have to at a happy marriage. The third and final aspect is to always remember that you and your spouse are a team. An ideal husband and a wife are never working against or competing with each other. In even the smallest of issues, a couple thinks has one, solves issues has one, handles life troubles, both big and small has one. One must never try to put the other one down or belittle one's spouse ever. Keeping these three details in mind can greatly help one live a happy married life. Tackling hurdles in life and getting over the occasional arguments will become easier, and marriage in itself will be smoother. Marriage is a such thing which is created created by the God, which our souls are made together 10,000 years before. Together, souls are made by Allah, and it's already written. He created us in pace. We should respect each other, and we should make sure that to understand each other. Not only it is the bonding between one person to another, it is even the bonding between the two families. We should make sure that to companion and to understand each other's thoughts and to lead a very good and a happy life, even in dunya and akhirah, so that at the end we can proudly stand even in dunya and even in akhirah in front of Allah. Jazakallahu khairan for the great opportunity. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Sister Rowan. Yeah, very true that the love without respect has no significance in a relationship. Okay, that was a good review. Now I invite Dr. Mrs. Madina as Azad Malda. Yeah. Okay, she's the consulting. She has done her MBBS and DCP. She's a consulting pathologist and a physician.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wish you all a very pleasant and good afternoon. First of all, I take this opportunity to congratulate Jamaat-e-Islami Hind and the Aura team for having commencing and successfully completing 1 year of Aura e-magazine. And I also thank for giving me this opportunity to review a subject of this magazine, April 2022 edition. So I would like to review the health topic, Alteration of Night and Day, written by Dr. Sabataj. The subject matter, the content are very well covered and presented well with the reference to the verses from the Quran, the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The importance of changing of the day and night are very well explained. As it is mentioned, the succession of day and night is one of the greatest signs of the Creator. The Quran is the book of God and it contains the signs of the Creator Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and asks the followers to ponder upon them. Now, the Holy Quran mentions the alteration of the day and night in 37 places. These verses clearly indicate that the Quran considers humans to be diurnal creatures, that is, they are active throughout the day and who need rest at night and sleep at night. But why is it out of God's mercy that night is for resting and a day for working? So here's how the science explains us. Dr. Sabah beautifully correlated the message in the Quranic verses with the scientific facts. In the scientific expressions, the day and night alteration is called circadian rhythm. She has very well covered the aspects of circadian rhythm, which is regulated by a biological clock, which is divided into two parts, the central master clock in the brain and the peripheral clocks in the different organs. And now this body clock generates the circadian rhythm, and in turn, circadian rhythm regulates the sleep and wake schedule along with many physiological processes, and it repeats roughly every 24 hours. The body clock gets information and cues from the sun and the moon, that is the presence of light and absence of light. It responds to the cues and tells us our bodies when to sleep, rise, or eat. It also controls many physiological functions and hormone secretions. Any disruption or alteration in this cue results in malfunctioning of the body clocks, which may result in severe health problems such as sleep deprivation, insomnia, memory impairment, depression, gastrointestinal disorders, and in the long run, these may lead to cancer also. Now, why is the daylight good for working and night for rest? And this is very well explained by Dr. Sabha. How a person is active throughout the day, what physiological and body changes do occur in the body. The body clock inside the human body gets signals from the sunlight and tells our bodies to secrete different hormones to wake up, and our bodies respond accordingly. In the morning, just before sunrise, our body gives signals to secrete cortisol hormone, which peaks in the early morning hours and regulates many metabolic processes. And such many endocrine functions get together and make our body functions throughout the day and keep us active during the daytime. So also she's explained very well the concept of night, where our body responds to the darkness in the night, which is a signal to the body clock, and it regulates the secretion of the sleep hormone melatonin that regulates the sleep. Sleep regulates new cell formation, memory consolidation, metabolic and immune functions. One of the striking examples is the release of growth hormone secretion during sleep. So at night, taking rest, a deep sleep, a sound sleep also helps our body to reset by replenishing and healing itself to ensure that it can function properly. The scientific studies suggest circadian rhythm disruption can cause cognitive impairment, poor memory, psychiatric illness, metabolic syndrome, insomnia, depression, slow growth, and severe disease like cancer, and also a lot of lifestyle disorders. And I have some studies to support this fact. Lack of sleep decreases the memory, and a deposition of beta amyloid, a toxic protein, builds up within the brain, which is usually washed out during the night during deep sleep, which leads to dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Lack of sleep also affects the reproductive system, especially in men. Men sleeping for 5 to 6 hours have less testosterone levels and age earlier. The immune system is also affected. 4 to 5 hours reduced sleep leads to decrease in anti-cancer fighting immune cells called natural killer cells, which leads to numerous cancers. Now, WHO decided to classify night shift jobs as probable carcinogens. It has also a great impact on the cardiovascular system because during night sleep, the blood pressure and the heart rate comes down. And this also is affected, and our cardiovascular system is at great risk. According to the global burden of disease, nearly a quarter, 24.8% of all deaths in India are due to cardiovascular disease. India has one of the highest burden of cardiovascular worldwide, according to the American Journal of Cardiology. The InterHeart study showed that cardiovascular risk factors such as abdominal obesity, hypertension, and diabetes are at higher risk among the Indians. So also there is an increase in diabetic patients. As told to Parliament on December 3rd, 2021, diabetes prevalence could grow almost by 70% by 2045. Now, so also there are many impacts on many endocrine functions where there are a lot of cases seen in as hypothyroidism. On the brain, the lack of sleep also has its toll. As many as 450 million people suffer from mental or behavioral disorder. Nearly 1 million people commit suicide every year. 4 out of those 6 leading causes of years lived with disability are due to neuropsychiatric disorders. 1 in 4 families has at least one member with a mental disorder. In addition to the health and social costs, those suffering from mental illness are also victims of human rights violation, social stigma, and discrimination. So the dire necessity is to acknowledge this and change our lifestyle and restrict our nightlife. So how do we correct our lifestyle so that our health is maintained and our lives are of quality? Now, Dr. Sabah, the author, mentions the Islamic way of life. The Prophet, peace be upon him, encouraged his companions not to be involved in any activity of Isha prayers. He said, one should not sleep before the night prayer, nor have discussions after it. Additionally, Muslims are required to wake up for Fajr prayer, and walking in the early hours of the morning is blessed by God, and a lot of barakah is in it. So also we can have a modification in our working schedules, our working pattern, and not wasting our time unnecessarily in the nights, sitting up late night with mobile phone or any screen, TV or laptops, working late hours, or maybe we are working for a global company and we are working throughout the night and sleeping during the day. This is how our diurnal variations are all upset. A circadian rhythm is affected. Now, but after all this, let us follow a right pathway and correct our lifestyles along with a proper diet so that we live a better and healthy life. Now, perhaps it is time to be grateful to the God's design. Human beings are the more important creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He created the whole world and all the things on it from humankind. He designed our body. And to benefit from the surroundings. Living according to God's design is always beneficial, and being grateful to God means living according to his design. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has in his wisdom spread such signs in each and every manifestation of his to point to the realities that are hidden behind them. But only those who can reach to those realities, who free themselves from the prejudices of ignorance and acquire righteous knowledge from the sources which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided. Sources of knowledge in the Quran and the Hadith and the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so as to simplify our lives and lead a satisfied and healthy lifestyle, thus leading to the formation of a better society. Who else knows us better than the Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself? So let us abide by the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was a perfect living example of the Quran for mankind. So this is how I conclude. And the topic was very well covered by Dr. Sabah, and I congratulate her for making us aware, which is a dire necessity in the recent times, to bring awareness among the public, especially our young generations who are not realizing how they are affecting their bodies by staying up late at night. Maybe they are working in the college or working in an office, wheresoever, but they need to restrict their night lives and correct their daily routine so that the body circadian rhythm is regulated and it runs according to the nature and they maintain a good health. Thank you so much. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Madhura. It was a very good explanation of how to connect the divine book with the science and the purpose of day and night. Amazingly, all this was mentioned 1400 years back, so it was very amazing to learn that this was already mentioned. I would like to just mention here that one of our esteemed speakers, Ms. Purnima Pattan Shetty, she's an educationist. She was supposed to join us today. Just now we have received a message that she'll not be able to join us. She has met with a slight accident at home, and she's not able to join us for that. Let us all pray that she recovers and she's back. She gains back her health as fast as possible. May Allah give her cure. Now, since Sylvia had some work, I would like to invite Dr. Sylvia for her review of the Aura E-Magazine article next.
Thank you, Firdaus, and thank you to the Aura team for this. First of all, for the magazine, and also for this event. It's important because the magazine, I think it is. What do you say? It's growing in the sense of there's a lot of energy going into it, but also I think it's opening up the space for people who have a lot of misunderstandings and wrong ideas about Islam, and also about Muslim community in general. I think this magazine reclaims a lot of those spaces and is very assertive that way. And I think this poem that I have reviewed is also a very good example of that. So it's called The LOL Diaries, and it's by Nushin Musa Hamza. So it is a catchy title, and I think it gives an idea about what the article itself is about. It's more about satire. It uses satire. I think, like, I personally also use a lot of satire, and I think it's very powerful in some instances because it doesn't take the opponent or the other, or it doesn't take the person who is even though it's a dangerous situation, even though it's a difficult situation, it reduces the danger in some way by saying you are not important enough, or trying to show how ridiculous that opinion is. And in this particular poem, she actually talks about the vocabulary that is being used specifically to target the Muslim community using Arabic words. Basically, it presents like two kinds of communities. One community which is constantly having all these words thrown at them, which they then have to defend, and another community which has stopped being inward looking, which has stopped analyzing where are my flaws in my own community, where are the flaws in my own system, and instead picks an easy target and keeps throwing words at them, keeps attacking them, trying to either make them into a villain or into a victim. So this when there's a process of trying to villainize the Muslim community, then they use words like love jihad and different kinds of jihad. The recent one we've also heard about, the halal jihad. So basically, take regular practices of people, ordinary practices related to their livelihood or related to their culture, and then give it a very devious and a very criminal kind of undertones, basically to villainize an entire community. On the other hand, then there's the victimhood of the community, where we saw that again in Karnataka with the hijab issue, where girls who are actually very well performing, many of them have been scoring very well. So we've also been seeing a lot of Muslim girls, hijab wearing girls, going to collect awards and degrees, but then being converted into this, monolithic, homogeneous kind of group. Somehow the hijab has become either a sign of victimhood or a sign of resistance, which has to be challenged. So it's very dangerous the way this thing is happening. And what Nushin is trying to do is give a commentary on that and saying that you are using these words basically with a malified intent. Your intent itself is a problem. You're neither concerned about the women, nor you're concerned about the community. nor are you concerned about, larger social issues of justice, and specifically in the Indian context about the constitution, but you're using this for, malified intent. The intent, I think, is very important, and I think that comes across in this piece of satire. How the media plays up to this, how politicians, colleges, educationalists, um, uh, the general society, how it responds to this kind of growing culture of targeting specifically the Muslim community, but using this kind of language. Basically the analysis and the discourse stops being intellectual, it stops being based on justice, social justice, but it just goes into the realm of propaganda. Just you can throw the word at someone, and these words have, great potential to hurt and harm people, because say in a conversation someone is trying to put across a point. I think that's what happened in a recent Kangana Ranaut show with the comedian. The words were being thrown at him as a way of stigmatizing, as a way of targeting, as a way of discrimination. So of course it has to be challenged, and I think this was a powerful way of challenging it. I appreciate Notion for this effort, and I wish more and more people would come forward and use this form of writing to challenge a mainstream narrative. So basically mocking it, saying that it is, your intent itself is a problem, and mocking it in some ways. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Dr. Sylvia. Sometimes I forget whether Dr. Sylvia is a doctor or she's an expert in literacy. Like very well to translated the poem and connected the poem to the current affairs of the nation, and plus also the current affairs of particularly what is happening in Karnataka. Thank you for that. Now I would like to invite Purna, Sister Purna. Yeah, she is a Bangalore-based lawyer who works on cultivating constitutional literacy. Her core areas of interest are constitutional law and gender justice. Ms. Purna. Purna, you have to unmute. We're not able
to be made the co-host. Yeah, now she's the co-host.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Great. Thank you so much. Firstly, like Dr. Sylvia started off by saying, I want to congratulate the entire team behind the magazine. I think it's a tremendous effort, and I only hope that it continues to grow. I hope that your readers grow in the days to come, in the months to come. Secondly, I of course want to also thank the team for inviting me to speak at this forum as a reader. I chose for myself this piece by Sumaya Zarif. It's written about ghettoization in the education system and what young Muslim women are facing today. Her piece actually spoke very strongly and loudly to me. One, because of whatever is going on at the moment in the state of Karnataka, and two, also because I was one of the people who got a chance to interact with the women who are at the center of the storm in different parts of the state. So when we'd gone to meet some of the women who were fighting this kind of institutional discrimination, a lot of what Sumaya has pointed out, in this piece, actually, those women also told us, and I felt like uh, this is the first time, or perhaps is one of the few instances where we've heard directly from, including through this piece, we've heard directly from the women who've been at the center of all this discrimination. Because ever since the controversy broke out, we've only been hearing from other people, male lawyers and educationalists who are also mostly Hindu men or at best Hindu women. So this piece, in that way, I gave it like 3 readings almost, because it felt like there's so many things that Sumaya was saying, which I felt like I had to read and reread to really listen to what she's saying. This was also the case even when the courts were hearing the matter, where there was no Muslim woman who came as a lawyer to represent the community, to speak for the women, to say what it is that they want. To that effect, I feel like this is one of the most important pieces that the April edition is carrying. And just to add on to some of the points that Sumaya has also raised here about how everybody is like looking at a Muslim woman's rights through the lens of leftist politics and right-wing politics and what the constitution says and all of that. But she makes the point that at the end of the day, it's what the Muslim woman wants to do, and perhaps we're not listening enough to her. I wanted to make use of this opportunity to also share with some of you what my experience of interacting with the women taught me, and what I learned from them was happening on the ground. One was, of course, that being a Muslim woman in the current uh, scenario is extremely difficult. It's taxing both on the emotional and the physical level. And while I was looking at all of this, even like 4 weeks ago, to actually write for a certain publication, I was thinking, and it's there's the current controversy that's going on in educational spaces. But a few months ago, there were also the two applications that were making a complete mockery of Muslim women's dignity. But also, that's not where all of this started. You trace the line back to a few more years, and then you see that even in university spaces in Delhi, for instance, Muslim women who were articulate and who were educated and who showed the courage to actually stand up to the state in both Aligarh, in I think AMU, and also in JNU and in other parts of the city, they were also attacked. So why it's important also for me to hear from somebody like Sumaya is that she is a well-educated, articulate, brave Muslim woman, and that's what scares the state the most. Firstly, you're a woman from a marginalized community, and then with that, what you have to say to the state when they try to oppress you. And with that, you're also coming in asking other women to speak out. So, and that's what they want to stop. So, for me, that's one major takeaway from this piece. The other things I also want to share was that when we were speaking to the girls in a lot of these districts, they spoke of three very important strands of experiences. One was the betrayal that they felt from within their educational institutions at the hands of the management, where their own teachers and their own principals were now seeing them as criminals, like Sumaya says, just for making a personal choice. And teachers who were standing by them, say even a few months ago, it suddenly turned foes. And that betrayal was something these young women were unable to reconcile with. Two was, of course, the loss of friendship, where woman after woman whom we interacted with said, if at all they're receiving any support, however little that is, they're getting it only from within their own community. And especially the Hindu community has not reached out sufficiently to them. And thirdly, they also spoke about the general climate within the universities, within their colleges and schools, where all their friends had now started showing up with very visible signs of majoritarian, thought processes, and that included also their teachers. So in some classrooms, they also stopped the classes so that photos can be taken, videos can be made, and so this is an extremely violent climate for any student to study in, more so somebody from a marginalized community in this politically charged atmosphere. So when we spoke to all the women, and then I linked it back to what Sumaya says in her piece that Muslim women don't need any saving. We know how to take care of ourselves, and we find the best possible way to be able to protect ourselves from whatever it is. So that's what all the women also said. In the face of all this, the grace and the resilience and the strength that all of these women, exhibited so naturally even during their conversations, even though they were under such tremendous degrees of duress, that was absolutely stunning to see. But at the same time, it was a bit heartbreaking also because uh, they're all extremely young women, right? They're 16, 17, and even people who are not really in the center of the storm but who belong to the community, all of them are having to put up a brave face to show some, to show more grace than what the majoritarian communities are doing, and that's extremely unfair to ask for all these young women. So while it was thoroughly inspiring to see them with this spark in their eye and saying, Didi, hum ladenge, aakhir tak hum ladenge. It was also a bit heartbreaking to see them having to take on that role for themselves and for the generations to come. And it also symbolized a certain loss of childhood and certain loss of innocence and the kind of happiness you're supposed to be experiencing as teenage girls. So having like had that very intense experience of interacting with those girls, this piece by Sumaya actually really spoke to me, and I hope that the magazine will continue to serve as a vociferous voice of the Muslim community, especially the community and its women. And so on that note, I'd like to congratulate the author Sumaya Zarif for writing this important piece, and once again to the team at Aura for having me on this forum to share.
Thank you, Purna. Your extra efforts to try to understand the article is appreciated, and you have correctly brought in and explained very well the problems faced by women from these marginalized communities, and what are the type of their loss of childhood, the loss of innocence, and all. Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, now I'd like to invite Simran for our next review. Okay. Simran, she is working as a business analyst at IMS Health. Her hobbies include reading, watching documentaries, and exploring nature. And she has a keen interest in learning the latest of the technologies. I'd invite Ms. Simran for her review on Aura e-magazine article. Simran, you're already the co-host. You can unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Firstly, I would like to thank the Aura team for giving me a chance to speak on this platform. I congratulate the team for bringing this magazine, which has diverse articles in it. Today, I would like to, review the article, "The World of Politics, NSC Yogi Scam" from Aura magazine. I consider myself fortunate enough to come across this interesting article from the Aura magazine, which otherwise I was not aware of. The author Arshad Sheikh has brought forward the details very crisply, and the context is really appealing to people who are not even from the financial background like me. So first, when I read this article, the thing that came to my mind is like, do we really have people from elite positions who believe in spiritual beings and take down instructions from a spiritual guru residing in the Himalayas? Yes, this is what has happened in this scam. So this happened in India, and the lady involved in this is, the NSC chief, the National Stock Exchange chief, Chitra Ramakrishna. So this incidentally, this scam has turned out to be one of the biggest stock market scam in India. So just, for a flashback note, I would like to tell that Chitra, herself has stated that she received instructions, directions from the Himalayan yogi asking her to appoint one Mr. Anand Subramaniam as her advisor. And she followed these directions coming from the yogi, whom she has not seen, or she believes that there was no physical appearance of this yogi, and she was receiving all these instructions through emails to her. And during this tenure of hers as NSC chief, she was working on such a big platform as NSC, with taking instructions from a spiritual power who is not having any physical coordinates. So this is really weird in these modern times of non-technology and things, and this pushes back India to a era of where we had these snake charmers and those kind of stories. So what has happened is, like, during this period, Chitra has committed grave lapses at India's largest stock market. So she was sharing in confidential information via emails with a spiritual guru, and he in turn instructs her how to manage the exchange. So the guru, as per Chitra, he had an email ID to communicate with her, but he didn't have a physical presence. So can you all believe this has happened in this era, in this technology day? It becomes difficult to digest, how an educated person like Chitra, who had a qualified chartered accountant degree, and she was holding an FCA degree also, and such a person has succumbed to this kind of a mysterious influencer. And to continue, people who have worked with Chitra say that she's very religious, but nothing seems to suggest that she's superstitious. And moreover, we have seen, like, for celebrities, politicians, and business leaders have these spiritual gurus whom they contact for all their daily activities, and any major critical decisions they have to take, they approach their spiritual gurus. So in this case, Chitra appears to have been relying on someone, like a Himalayan yogi, whose judgment on professional matters she was trusting so heavily. So coming to the other, the religious point of this, many religions also provide business ethics for instance, Islam also propagates trust-based business, on grounds of moral accountability. So with this terrible state of affairs in this scam, investors have lost faith in the NSE and the SEBI. So one of the ethics of the stock market is to uphold the investors' confidence, to maintain public trust in financial markets. But this was grossly misused in this Himalayan yogi scam, I would say. And the investigations later revealed that the Himalayan yogi was none other than Anand Subramaniam, who is related to Chitra Ramakrishna, through family ties, or through distant family ties. So later, subsequently, Chitra was also arrested by the CBI for taking vital management decisions under the influence of this Himalayan yogi. So what I would say is, like, this scam is a serious scam, and this has already pushed India's image very behind, and India has become a laughing stock as the global media laps up the reports on how this Himalayan yogi was dictating the actions of the chief of NSE. Where, if you see the NSE, it is a leading stock exchange in India and the fourth largest in the world, and the chief of this institution has been receiving all instructions from an unknown person who states himself to be a spiritual guru. So the author, has concluded this article with three main concerns, which I very much agree upon. How could the NSE give a honorable exit to Chitra? When she decided to quit, there was no action taken against her. She was given a honorable exit. She exited, based on personal reasons. And almost like after 6 years, this has come out in the public. And moreover, the political parties, who have gained power recently, telling that corruption is nothing going to happen now, and it is a thing of the past. All these parties have been silent all this while. We were expecting an outrage, for this scam of this huge scale. So these questions for now are all unanswered, since the scam is still under investigation. So with this, I would like to end my talk, and I thank you all for your patience and giving me a chance to speak on this platform. My best wishes to you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thanks for highlighting the current scam. Yeah, it is really amazing, how the intellectuals fall into this type of hypocrisy and, things, unnecessary values. Okay, now I would like to invite our next speaker, Dr. Shraddha Suryavanshi. Okay, I'd like to introduce her. Dr. Shraddha Ajit Suryavanshi, she has done her MDS in orthodontics. She works in Avi Dental College, Bangalore as a lecturer. She is also a consultant in clinics in Belgaum, Dharwad, Bangalore. I would like to invite you, Dr. Shraddha, for your review on RRE magazine article.
Good afternoon to one and all. It's a pleasure to be a part of this magazine reviewing ceremony. So I am going to review an article which has been written by Afia Shahrukh, which states that what do you do when you stop seeing the blessings? Okay, mental health and Islam. So there's one quote which is very famous, that is, count your blessings, not your troubles. So that states that the more you count your blessings, the good happens, right? What happens whenever we are sad? We just want to see the sad part of it, but then we forget the blessings which are there behind it. So one thing that is the true thing what I felt through the article is that when you are depressed or when you are sad, there is no human who can get you out of that, or there is no blessing that can get you out of it is really the person who's going through it, the person who has this mental imbalance, or who's going through this mental illness himself knows what he is going through. There was one important paragraph or a line that I liked in the article was, stigmatizing mental health and telling people to get over it is not the help. Yes, it is definitely not the help. If the person is openly telling you that he's mentally sick, or he's depressed, don't tell him that it will be fine, you will be fine, but do something that can get him out of it, be a part of it. Then there's one more thing that is very true in the article, is that your hope might be lost, but your faith that always saves you from everything is still there. Yeah, you can lose that hope. At times we stop hoping, but then we still have that faith that yes, we can come out of it. We can do something which is going to get us out of it. Everyone has the right to be sad, or at times there is a time when you just don't know how to get out of that particular situation. But then that is not the solution. Sitting and being depressed at a place is not a solution. You can yourself find a solution by coming out of it, right? As it is said in the article that Islam doesn't say that being depressed or being mentally sick is a sin, or it is a bad thing, or it makes you a bad human. It says that you have all the right to be out of it, go out of it. Do the things which make you feel better. Sitting at the place being vulnerable is not going to get you out of that situation. Do something for yourself, come out of it. And I think that is the best thing that can get you out of it. There's no point of going and telling people that I am depressed, I don't feel good. It is not taken in a good way when it is told to the people. But then the only good thing that you can do is go out, explore yourself, know what you can do even in your worst phase, and yes, that is gonna get you out of it. So what I would like to conclude is, never stop counting your blessings, no matter how depressed you are or how mentally sick you are. Yes, approach the people whom you feel that you will get help. But if you don't get the help from people, don't be sad. Just try to be out of it by yourself. There's no point sitting and feeling depressed about it. So thank you so much. That was a really beautifully written article. And thank you, Aura Magazine, for giving me a chance to review an article to it.
Thank you, Dr. Shraddha. That was a good one. Yeah, there is also there is a myth that if you are very righteous, then you cannot go into depression and things like that. Yeah, very true that even righteous people can go into depression, and that is one of the way to get back to their creator, I think. Thank you very much, Dr. Shraddha. Now I'd like to invite Najmul Arfat for a review on Aura e-magazine article. Najmul, can the host make her the co-host, please? Thank you. And Najmul, you can unmute yourself and start, please. Najmul, unmute yourself. Thank you.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you can go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Good evening, one and all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace, blessings, and mercy be on all of you. First of all, I would like to thank the Aura team for giving me an opportunity to speak here at this wonderful desk. Thank you very much. Jazakallahu khairan. Secondly, I would like to congratulate the Aura team for the successful completion of 1 year. Mashallah, may Allah give you all more success in the coming days. I think it's a great initiative, especially as it is a women's magazine. Its goal seems to be to empower the women, as it not only encompasses the religious articles, but also regarding articles regarding health, education, politics, and many other fields. Now, actually, according to me, it is an amazing platform, for the authors and writers to actually pen down and share their experiences and skills, and and their knowledge. And of course, it is a delight to the readers and very beneficial too. Now, coming to my article, needless to say, all the articles are very good and equally, very impressive in their own ways. But since it is the month of Ramadan, I have chosen the article Fasting and Resilience by Sister Mohsina Abdul Ghafoor. The sister very, beautifully, she has penned the changes and the benefits of fast and changes we face during the month of Ramadan, and also the benefits, actually, the physiological and psychological benefits of fasting. Now, she it is Alhamdulillah, we have been blessed with this month. I'm sure each one of us has experienced the unique feeling of joy and elation that Ramzan brings. Despite the fact that we might go through some mild headaches and hunger pangs for the first couple of days, this month is truly a celebration. Now, what are the changes the sister mentions we face in Ramadan? Ramadan, it drastically, as we know, changes everything about our lives, our sleep-wake patterns, our eating patterns, our priorities, the time we spend on worship, how we spend the money, how we spend our time with friends and family, etc. And she also mentions that, it is a time when our mind is completely focused on our thoughts and actions. We become very conscious of our needs and how we meet them. Now, we have concentrated this focus on the self and controlling desires. Now, she goes on to explain the purpose of the month of Ramadan. And she explains that Ramadan, actually can be defined as a safe training ground that Allah has provided for us, to develop the kind of skills that are necessary to live the lives that we live in the best way possible. Now, Allah says in the ayah about Ramadan that Allah loves ease for you and does not love hardship for you. Now, I'm sure we can all agree that Ramadan is a month like no other. The things we can accomplish in this month, even fasting, is a lot more difficult for the rest of the year also. So it is kind of a training ground, to restore, to relearn and rebuild what the previous year has depleted and recalibrate ourselves for the coming year. Now, what is fasting? Actually, in the past few decades, there has been an explosion of research that states that fasting is an essential part of a healthy lifestyle. The most popular theory is that deprivation of food has been our greatest motivation to improve our situation and thereby results in creativity and innovation to fulfill that purpose. Now, fasting, she has said, is defined by modern science as the act of depriving oneself of food for extended periods of time. The most popular fasting trend today is intermittent fasting, which is restricted eating to a time frame with the rest of the time spent in a state of fasting. That is how we do. Like we have at a certain period of time, we have the suhoor or the sehri, and the rest of the day we are fasting. And then, of course, there is the iftar time. Now, the sister goes on to explain the benefits of fasting. First of all, she has explained the physiological benefits of fasting, and she says that research has shown that being in a state of fasting for more than 12 hours can result in fast metabolism and therefore help in weight loss. It also regulates metabolism, which means we can better use, make better use of nutrients in the food we eat. It also helps regulate blood glucose, blood pressure levels, increases cardiovascular health, etc. Apart from this, it can also result in elimination of accumulated toxins, cleansing the body and boosting immunity. These are the very few physiological benefits that she has mentioned in the article. Other articles are also, other benefits are also mentioned, which we have no time to go through all of them. And the benefits of fasting for mental health. Fasting, she explains, is not only requires focus and conscious effort in maintaining the state of fast, it also requires self-restraint and resilience. It can be seen that while our brain is working on self-restraint and focus for the purpose of fasting, it spills over to the other functions that require the same needs from our brain. Now, fasting requires willpower, in other words, discipline and rigor, which is essentially a test of restraint and resilience. And if we practice it enough times, it becomes a part of us. When the Prophet ﷺ, he asked the Sahaba who were unable to get married to fast. The Prophet ﷺ was essentially giving them a tool to develop restraint. Now, when we fast during Ramadan, we can keep ourselves giving into other bad behaviors as well. We kind of give up watching TV and, engage in gadgets like we engage in other parts of the year. Now, we are currently enjoying the month of Ramadan, which is a sense a training ground, which develops strength and resilience of the mind as well as the body. Now, as believers, we enjoy more than just the physical benefits that fasting brings us. We also enjoy the spiritual benefits of tuning to our Lord. Now, further, what I like most of this article is some of the experience of non-Muslim sisters who have shared their experiences to actually not only appreciate the month of Ramadan, but also they have shared their experiences, they have gone ahead and fasted the whole month of Ramadan. Now, this is very, in these times, I must say, Islamophobic and fascist and racist times that we are in, that we are facing, these articles and, these experiences of the non-Muslim sisters and their work is, it's really a calming and appreciated approach. The sisters mentioned are Aswati Sajid and Daya Aruna. Aswati Sajid, she is the sister, she's a social work professional working in child rights and child protection for 3 to 4 years. She has shared her experiences, and she says that when I was asked this question, it took me back to 2019. Prior to that, she used to fast for a few days or a maximum of a week. Now, she says that, while working with child rights and children, helping them, helping the society and help them to lead a dignified life. She says that the children who she was looking after were mostly adolescents and who had difficulties in emotional behavior. That's when Ramadan came by. About 95% of these children were Muslim, and they were all determined to fast during the month of Ramadan. She says it took us by surprise and lifted her spirits. And so she decided to join the kids in fasting. And she said she used to wake up in the morning before sunrise, eat porridge and dates and some water, and start her journey. And she also says that Ramadan, it was a chance for her to listen to each part of her body and mind, what they wanted to communicate to me. That is the children she was looking after. She actually went ahead and fasted the whole month along with the children she was looking after. Another sister, Daya Aruna, she started fasting in Ramadan in second standard itself, which is really, appreciating to look at such non-Muslim sisters who have gone ahead and fasted the whole month of Ramadan. That not only they have appreciated the, this month, but they gone ahead and fasted themselves. She says she has started fasting in her second standard along with her friends. When she used to sit with her friends when they were praying, then she actually prayed along with her friends. She says the mind also gets relaxed. Usually, if I'm in the university or Delhi, it is very comfortable for me to fast or offer prayer, she says. She also feels even Buddhist fast or Buddh Purnima, Ambedkar Jayanti, like some of the other relatives. So I think overall, this is a very good article, and she has explained how fasting kind of benefits us both physically and mentally. So kind of this is it. I mean, I congratulate Aura Magazine, Aura Committee. The very best of luck. May Allah bless you with success in the coming days ahead. Thank you very much. Jazakallahu khair.
Thank you, Najmul, for the beautiful detailing on the benefits of Ramadan. It was a good one. It was a review for all of us for the beginning of Ramadan. Thank you. Jazakallah khair. Now I invite Bushra Mateen for the next speaker. I don't think Bushra Mateen needs much introduction, because she has done a BE Civil from SLN College of Engineering, and she is all over WhatsApp because she has won 16 gold medals, and particularly after the hijab ban, she's all over with the carrying those 16 medals in her hand, and with the hijab on her the scarf. So she has secured the first rank with 16 gold medals in the VTU, that is Visvesvaraya Technological University, and then at Belgavi on 10th March. In the history of 21 years of VTU, this is the record of bagging highest 16 gold medals. All of us congratulate you, Bushra, on your success, and may Allah bless you with more and more success. Now I invite you for your review on our e-magazine article.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. A warm good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I thank Aura e-magazine for making me a part of this session, and I congratulate Aura e-magazine for completing 1 year, successful 1 year, and inshallah you succeed more in this. And I thank on behalf of I thank Aura e-magazine for congratulating me, for appreciating me, and I'm here to review on a article called Education, the lessons from Dr. Ambedkar's life, authored by Dr. A. Farooq. And here, one of the most important thing is Dr. Ambedkar, who is the most prominent person for India. And here in this article, we have been explained about the bio of Dr. Ambedkar's life and the struggle, what Dalit education has faced, and about the anniversary which is being celebrated of Dr. Ambedkar's is that on April 14 every year as Ambedkar Jayanti. And here at the end it's given about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him, about his topics on education purpose, teachings on education. And here the one important thing about the author was he gave a notice about the how Dalits have faced the discrimination during those generations, how untouchability was a major thing during those generation in India. And in the Ambedkar's bio, there is what Ambedkar has gone through during his education purpose. He was being discriminated at the early age of his 10 years age during his school, how he was being discriminated. And here it's been mentioned of the biography of Dr. Ambedkar, where there was a mention of waiting for visa, because even after completing the education from abroad, after coming from abroad, Dr. Ambedkar even faced the discrimination when he was a professor in a college of Bombay, where he was not been allowed to drink water through a jug. Even the professors were opposing that. And after he returning from London, even when he wanted to visit his village, he was not been allowed to take a ride on a bullock cart. And it's all how he has faced the obstructions, how he has faced the discrimination, and he turned out to be a renowned person. We know that Dalits were excluded from the mainstream of society, and they were forced to live in the outer part of villages. In the article, it's mentioned that how the Dalits were victims of caste-based slavery, and it was Ambedkar who freed them from. Truly, it was Ambedkar who has freed them from all the discriminations. And not only this, caste discrimination was being fought by Dr. Ambedkar, even gender discrimination was being fought by Dr. Ambedkar, because it's a quote of Dr. Ambedkar that the degree of progress in a community is seen by the degree of progress women have achieved. And Dr. Ambedkar was the first person who spoke about the maternity leave in India, and who gave a voice to equal pay for equal work. So this is a beautiful article, majorly for education purpose and for the discrimination we face, either it's caste discrimination, social based discrimination, or gender discrimination we face. And here it's one slogan of Dr. Ambedkar, which is truly inspiring, that is being given in this article, that is, educate is the first word of Dr. Ambedkar's famous slogan, educate, agitate and organize. The reason is the undeniable role of education in human character and consciousness. And Dr. Ambedkar said, education is what makes a person fearless, teaches the lesson of unity, makes him aware of his rights and struggle to get the rights. Because education is one thing we can know about our rights. In today's India, we have so many policies the government being implementing, and there are so many provisions government we are providing, and there are so many rights we citizens have, but because of education we lack those things. We don't know what rights we have, we don't know what policies the government are implementing. So education is the most important thing which is being said in this article from Ambedkar's life. And one thing we can say is from Ambedkar's life and what the author has expressed in this, that no matter what obstructions come, what challenges come, we should overcome, and we'll get the achievement, because Dr. Ambedkar was the most educated person, a scholar person of his generation. He was not only an educated, but he was an economist, he was a jurist. He had values and determinations because of which he could overcome all the obstructions. And as we all know, that Dr. Ambedkar was the most pioneer and prominent person in drafting our constitution. And here very well the author A. Farooq has said about the social equity and the ending discrimination through Dr. Ambedkar's life. And here ending, he has wrote about the highlights of the teachings of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as his teachings about education, discrimination, and social equality were on the same lines. And it is a religious and obligatory duty for both men and women to get education. Islam also denies any kind of discrimination, and justice applies to all humankind. As mentioned in the Quran, O mankind, indeed we have created you from male and female and made you peoples and tribes, that you may know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most richest of you. Indeed, Allah is knowing and aware. And truly, our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, we follow Prophet's path, and we should know that education is the important aspect. And the author and the article of Aura magazine of this, authored by A. Farooq, Dr. A. Farooq, has very well explained about the education. And here they have given a beautiful quote of Dr. Ambedkar, which is that education doesn't make sense when it is neither competent or not teaches the morality or values of the people, values or the determinants of the people. So education is used for the equality, for giving the values, for human character, and spreading the knowledge. So using the Dr. Ambedkar's life, it's very well explained about the education, and it's truly inspiring. And I thank Aura magazine for once again making me a part of this session. And I thank Aura magazine for this session. Thank you, and all. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah, Mr. for highlighting all those good life history of Dr. Ambedkar.
Sister Firdaus, you are mute.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay. Thank you, Bushra, for your for highlighting the inspirational life history of Dr. Ambedkar. Thank you. That was very good, and you also continue to be an inspiration for all our youngsters. Okay, now invite Nisha Abdullah, our next speaker. Very lively person, so I think she'll continue to be to keep us lively during the last part of our session. And Nisha Abdullah, she's an artist and an educator. She's a Bangalore-based artist working in the intersections of theater, community, and education. She practices as a writer, director, and dramaturg, pedagogue, and performer. Her anti-oppressive arts practice centers the dissenting body and imagination, lived experiences, and new writing. She's also the artistic director of Kabila. Now I invite Nisha Abdullah for her review on Aura magazine attitude.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you, Firdaus, for putting together this event. Thank you for having me here. And congratulations to the whole team of Aura eMag for this amazing achievement of 1 year. I'm glad that I discovered the magazine thanks to your invite, and I'm really looking forward to reading more and more issues. I wish you all of the success as you continue to do this labor of love. I found the magazine really comprehensive in its coverage, dealing right from Ramzan to reflections on personal life, on politics, on health, on education. I found it very interesting the ways in which different writers have approached it, brought their very unique lens to it, their language to it. I think this is exactly the kind of opportunities that we need to have more and more voices out there at a time when there is a homogenization of narratives in the public domain. This is the kind of efforts we need more and more of. The more we accept the plurality of voices around us, the greater will be our chance at resisting some of our biggest challenges in society today. So really my heartfelt congratulations to all of you, the writers and the organizers, for doing this. I'm speaking today about Kaniz Fatima's article, Muslim Women Targets of Fascism. I was really moved by the article because it kind of places all of us who are so impacted by everything that is happening around us today, the demonization, the alienation that a lot of people in the Muslim community feel. The author kind of gave voice to a lot of that frustration, to a lot of the rage, and truly recognizes that it is Muslim women who are at the front lines of this battle against fascism. The Muslim community as a whole, the Dalit community as a whole, yes, but a lot of the initial assaults are often, and the most brutal assaults are often on the physicality and on the psyche of the Muslim woman. And even amongst my hijabi sisters more than anyone else. So I think the ways in which Kaniz has really spoken right from the start of the resistance in terms of Shaheen Bagh, and the ways in which Shaheen Bagh and the multiple such Shaheen Baghs throughout the country that bloomed, the ways in which that organized resistance back in 2019 gave us all a way out of this, really suffocating fascism that we were seeing. It was the Muslim women coming together that allowed all of us as secular citizens to see what are the ways in which we can collectively resist. It really gave us a way to push forward with our resistance. So Kanis begins to take us through that journey, right from the resistance at Shaheen Bagh and the lessons there, and then goes on to talk about the specific roles that the media and the judiciary has played in making these assaults possible. So she speaks about the abdication of the roles of the media and the judiciary, that they've forgotten their neutrality, that they've forgotten their role as, protectors of dissent, as protectors of citizen rights. And those bits especially moved me because she gave voice to a lot of our collective frustration. And this voice, putting it out in the public domain, is very, very important. And we need to grab as many opportunities as we have to bring these voices of rage, of anger, of strategy also out into the public. Kanis also links the role of the media in enabling the direct assault on Muslim women. So she talks about Sulibai and Bulibai, and then moves on to talk about the hijab controversy itself, the attacks on the teachers, the attacks on the students. We all know, of course, that the Supreme Court is continuing to not give dates for the hearing in the hijab, in the appeal that the petitioners have made at the Supreme Court about the hijab hearing. So she connects all of these various threads and allows people who are unfamiliar with the deeper details, she allows all of us to understand the ways in which these are connected and to see this every assault on minority right, to see it as an erasure by Hindutva forces, to see it as a very purposefully orchestrated controversy, one after one, that distracts us from the things that really matter in the community. And to do that by grounding it in the assault on Muslim women, I think as being one herself, it takes a lot of labor and it takes a lot of courage to be able to do that. And I really want to congratulate her for doing that. It is difficult to articulate our thoughts at this moment because so many of our loved ones are impacted by this, and to be able to do this kind of writing, this resistance writing at a time like this when we're at the center of the storm is truly remarkable. I'm going to close really here. Thank you, Kanis, for this. This is an example. This and many other articles in the magazine in this issue is really an example of the kind of resistance writing we need more of. We've seen the ways in which a lot of Hindu men, a lot of upper caste men and women have tried to take on this role of talking to Muslim women and giving advice about how we need to, conduct our resistance and conduct ourselves in these times. The truth is that we know what we need to do at this point. I think we're all well aware of how we can carry our faith and our citizenship, our faith and our secularism together. And so the more voices we have from within the community that can do that, the better it is. So this is exactly the kind of resistance writing, the kind of political lens by Muslim women from our community. The more they write specifically about politics and this kind of demonization that is happening, the better it is for all of us. And I think more importantly, it allows all of us women to fight the patriarchy within the community and the patriarchy by the state, both of which are important struggles for us. So I'm wishing that all of us have the strength to continue to take on this labor. I recognize how hard it is, and my Inqilabi salams to all of you who are doing this. Thank you. It's a great honor to be here, and wish you all the luck for your future editions.
Salam. Thank you, Nisha, for that wonderful talk. Yeah, for the wonderful review which you have given. It's almost 4:45. I request Mr. Rahmatulisa Waji now just to give a few concluding
You
remarks.
can call Shaima to give the vote of thanks because it's already 4:45.
Okay.
She will conclude on everyone's
I would like to
team
call
Aura's behalf. She will do it.
Okay. I would like to call Shaima now. She's the research scholar at JNU, research scholar of law and governance. She's also the sub-editor of Aura. And I would like to call Shaima for her vote of thanks. Concluding remarks. Shaima? Host, you have to make Shaima the co-host, I think. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum. I think it's working now. I still can't turn on my video for some reason, but that's all right. I think the host has to permit that. Never mind. Am I audible?
Yes, Shaima.
All right. Okay. Greetings, everybody. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for joining our program hosted by Aura Readers Club, and in this particular month, Aura Readers Club Karnataka. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this program, Aura Readers Club Karnataka, Amatur Razak Saiba, Firdaus Khan Saiba, all the other people who have been working to put this program together, put such a wonderful lineup of speakers together. It is really important for us speaking on behalf of Team Aura, as our chief editor said, that we establish a proper feedback mechanism through which that we can engage with, the community of readers, of thinkers, of collaborators, because that is what we wanted Aura to be. That was our vision of Aura, in the sense that we did not just want to put out a magazine and then think about the next issue and move on. We wanted that, we can get some active feedback from everybody, criticism, critique, and we are very open to and very, we try our best to be welcoming of, not just welcoming of, but also try to, put into practice the critique that we get. So I would invite all of you to continue reading Aura and giving this, sustaining this kind of feedback mechanism. After that, I would extend my warmest gratitude to the speakers of this program. It was really wonderful, and to hear people of such caliber, people of such, coming from such different walks of life, from different fields, to take their time out. In that time, labor, energy, all of these are very valuable things, and to take your time out and spend time reading Aura, going through it, and thinking about it, and coming here today to speak, that itself is a very wonderful thing for us at Aura. And to speak a little bit about Aura before I wind up just a couple of minutes, because we are already sort of short of time, is that Aura is a space with a vision that is not based on the question of merely of an identitarian manner, in the sense that it is a space merely for women or a space merely for Muslim women. It is a space where we want to shape and nurture the voices of all women, and also nurture, a kind of discourse around gender, around social justice, around economic and political justice, that includes and envisions, a very different world from the one that we are living in. So I think one thing that, something that has always been told is that Aura often is dealing with very serious issues, quote unquote. Sometimes our articles are quite dry, or even, very hefty in that manner. And the reason behind that, of course, is that the world that we are living in is, of course, filled with these kind of serious issues. So Aura tries its best to include the voices of all kinds of people from all walks of life, cutting across religion, region, language, gender, faith, all these categories, caste, class. And so in order to create a space where we can learn and listen to each other, because that is something that is really lacking and depleting in our world, because like we saw in the case of whether it is the hijab issue, whether it is any other issue, people seem to have over time lost or become unwilling to hear the concerns of the other. And so we want to inculcate that kind of a space, and that is why Aura Readers Club was also envisioned to go beyond just the work of producing a magazine per se, and to also produce this kind of a community where we can reach out to each other, where we can think about some critical comments and come back to each other, discuss. And hopefully those discussions can come out in a written form or in a video or in any kind of creative way. So just to conclude, again, I would like to thank all of you and each and every person, and of course, very importantly, our listeners, our Aura family, listening on YouTube today, listening on all these platforms on Zoom. So thank you so much, and over to you, Firdaus Khazan.
Thank you, Shema, for the vote of thanks, and I thank all the speakers once again, for those wonderful reviews which you all have given and taken out time. Yeah, anything?
Nothing. Thank you so much once again, team Karnataka, you, Firdaus Saiba, and Umaira. Also, Umaira Kumpat, all the wonderful speakers. And, our prayers are with Purnima ma'am. Please convey our prayers.
Yeah, and one more speaker could not join us, Vidya Dinkar. She was caught up in some case, for that NRC. And then she also, unfortunately, she could not join us today.
Okay, let's hope that she gets recovered from whatever happened. Our prayers are with her.
Thank you for being our motivation.
Ramadan Mubarak to all of you, because Ramadan means reading. And thank you for taking it up in this month. We were a little apprehensive because it is Ramadan and how you people will be able to organize it. Anyway, you have done it. Very good. Thank you so much. Let's wind up.
Thank you. Jazakallah.